I'd sooner eat my left arm than another pizza bagel. No problem. Considered stricken from my dictionary. Besides, I prefer toaster pastries myself. I probably prefer toaster pastries too. Okay, I'm sufficiently cheered up, thanks to your infectious spirit. Cool. Yeah, I mean, that looks about right. Now, get out of here and let them have it, Tiger. Wow, look at my score, man. I'm gonna break 30,000. Who else do I want to talk to before we leave? Can we talk to Percy again? Guess not. I'm ready to leave. No sense putting it off any longer. I talked to everyone that I wanted to. I gathered as much information as I could. I'm just delaying the inevitable at this point. It's time to do this. For the sake of my future, my dreams, my friends' dreams, and... say it with me now. Funplex 2, Electric Boogaloo itself. I take Percy's hand in mine as a soft smile curls my lips. We're ready to depart and face our destiny together. It's so cool that I get to do this with my significant other. It's a short trip across town, and before we know it, we're standing outside Ghost Monsters HQ, a rundown warehouse in the bad side of town. A wooden sign, long since fallen off the side of the building, identifies it as belonging to Nostalgia Commodities Incorporated. Not a particularly welcoming locale, is it? I doubt they'll invite us in for tea either. Why would anyone want to live in such a squalid hole? Can you think of a better place for a street gang to lay low? Odds are Deco owns this building anyway. Correct. Nostalgia Commodities Incorporated is a wholly owned subsidiary of Deco's Palace LLC. This is, remember when earlier, I don't remember who was talking about it. Oh, it was the report, Miss Defame, or whatever her name was. Defame! I get it now. I get her last name. Miss Defame mentioned that there was this arcade that also had these, like, rough start, and had these, you know, tragedy after tragedy, and Deco, it closed down, and then Deco bought it. I bet this is that arcade. This is the arcade that she was referring to. 100%. Lovely. Well, once more to the breach, eh? I have faith in your success. I'll largely stay quiet, let you handle the talking, but if I spot a moment where I can aid in our victory, I'll speak up. That's exactly what I want you to do, Percy. Shall we play then? I love how he says that. Percy, I will play with you whenever you want. I sigh once, looking over at my companion. I'm sure glad I'm not going at this alone. I'm nervous for sure, but I know what I have to do. I settle down on my crutches, armpits resting on the padding as I prepare to enter the belly of the beast. Hey, listen. Iris kind of about to be in the middle of something here. I know, and I've spontaneously reprogrammed myself to include a new measurable metric which would be useful for your mission. I call it Incredibly Right Indicator of Success. Or Iris for short. Hey, when you have a great acronym already, you may as well use it. I'm going to start analyzing Sue's vocal patterns once you step in there, to determine how close you are to convincing her. That way you'll know if you're on the right track, or if you need to try something different. Let's take a look at your current score. Currently, you have a 0.0% chance of success. Yay? Well, okay, that's probably a bit disheartening, but think of it like, if I walked away right now, I'd fail miserably, instead of, I'm doomed. But speaking of doom, well, since there is a chance you can actually fail this time, rather than be assured you can mumble your way through the problem, would you like me to back up your data first? Yes, they know me way too well. I love how forgiving this game is. Yeah, they could have made this harder, or they could have made it so they're not holding their hand as much, but a lot of gamers are very casual that they appreciate. They appreciate little things like this, and I appreciate it. You are now ready to proceed. Good luck. Taking a deep breath, I swing my way into the warehouse on my crutches with my companion beside me. Let's see how this goes. This is the final boss. It's the final countdown. I don't know what I expected to find on entering the lair of a notorious gang of cybercriminals, but a makeshift arcade that rivals my own was not high on the list. If this is a dumping ground of a warehouse for Deco's industry, it makes sense, though. A place where old arcade games go to die, turned into a playland for punks. A disorganized maze of games litters the ground floor, poorly lit and barely functional. Only some of the screens are on, and many have serious ghosting and burn-in. As for the ghost monsters themselves, the good news is they haven't noticed our arrival. As I look up, I can see them on the second floor, in the catwalks. Huh, they seem distracted. That's good news. The bad news? They're distracted because they have a visitor.
Unfortunate.
How unfortunate. I have to say, Sue, I'm extremely disappointed in you. It's hard to get a good angle from down there, hidden in the shadows, but it sounds like the old man's ranting at his daughter in his usual passive-aggressive way. I could stay hidden and eavesdrop on their conversation, gather some more information, or I could announce myself and barge in on them. Both are risky. But which makes the most sense for how I'm going to handle the negotiation we're about to have, though? Eavesdrop and learn more. If I'm trying to go kindly, I need to eavesdrop. If I was trying to go in aggressive and guns a-blazing, I'd go in large and charge. Plus, I think Percy is more of an eavesdrop and learn more kind of guy. I motion for Percy to stay quiet as we lurk in the shadows, below the catwalks above. Plus, we gotta gather information. You should be doing this. You should be out there doing what you agreed to do, not hiding away in your clubhouse. A clubhouse I pay the rent for, I should add. You want to keep your little playground, yes? Hard for me to do if some competitor rises to hurt my bottom line.
Pay attention.
Look at me when I'm talking to you, Sue. I'm trying to explain how the world works. Pay attention. Yes, Dad. It's hard to tell from this angle, but I could swear she said that through her gritted teeth. There's a certain forced tone to it as well.
Am I not generous?
I don't ask for much, I feel. I look the other way when you and your friends cause trouble. I bail you out of jail. I let you skip school as often as you want. Parent of the year, ladies and gentlemen. All told, I feel I've been a lenient father who understands and appreciates his daughter's inclinations. Like when you first like you know the first effing thing about me. What was that? Speak up, I can't hear you. And don't look to your little friends, look at me. Reluctantly, Sue's eyes meets with her father's. Yes, Dad, I'm sorry, Dad.
You understand.
All I want from you is so very, very little. It's what you'd be doing anyway, really. Go back there and keep causing trouble for Funplex 2 Electric Boogaloo. Yeah, I made him have to say it. Or do you really want me to pull back all my support of your little gang, leaving you twisting in the wind at the mercy of the cyber crime task force? Of course not, Dad. I'm sorry, Dad. Nice! 25% chance of success is now 25% because I eavesdropped. I think I'm starting to understand the situation. She's under his thumb, not by choice, and she hates it. Good. Now then, why haven't you finished the job? Oh, come on. I almost effing died thanks to invading lovely chainsaw turf. If we go back there... I'm hearing excuses, Sue. I thought you were made of stronger stuff than that. Some delinquents are chasing you away? Really? How are you going to eventually inherit my empire if you can't stand up to some school brats? Like, I want your empire.
Pay attention.
Speak up, I said. Quit looking at the floor. And we lock eyes through the metal grate flooring she's standing on. Her hands go to her hips in an overly confident fashion as she bends over like a child finding a lucky penny on the sidewalk. Well, 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 what do you know? She spotted us. Inky, Blinky, we have guests. She snaps her fingers, a sudden aura of command about her as she's distracted from the verbal beatdown by her father. And goons swarm, flanking us. We're quickly hustled up the stairs. Well, as quickly as I can manage on crutches. Now's the time to use this moment to my advantage, and I know just what to say. Deco, buddy, long time no see. It's been what? Hours? Interesting, catching you here consorting with criminals. Your reckoning's at hand, Mr. Nami. It's an odd welcome, Matt, but I'll take it. Sue, Deco, good to see you. Apologies for barging in at this late hour, but you're a little difficult to track down, I found. Deco's face twists into a grotesque blend of anger and fear. What in the... I can't be seen here. If any record ends up online... Jeez, Dad, relax. Relax. Clyde? On cue. Oh, it's the sweet ginger boy. On cue, Clyde steps out of from the shadows, their fingers dancing over their phone as they concentrate on the screen. I feel like in the game, Clyde's also the most timid, or like the least aggressive of the ghosts. I could be wrong, but I feel like that's the case. Both of them have phones. One has an Iris assistant loaded. We're blocking their outgoing data streams. There should be no verifiable data evidence of this conversation uploaded anywhere. I can't stop Hark's Iris from hearing you, but I can hijack his account if you need me to so we can manually wipe her memory. Just say the word. We'll see. Thanks, Clyde. Clyde nods in agreement, backing out of the spotlight. Hey, I was nice to you, Clyde. And orange is my favorite color. I was nice to you. Happy now, Dad? You're clear. Quit freaking out.
As you like.
Not that it matters. My business with this Mr. Angel is already concluded. I was more than courteous to you, and you spat in my face. I didn't spat in your face. I gave you my offer terms, and you refused them. You refused me. I didn't refuse you. You refused my offer. It's clear we will never see eye to eye, and I have nothing more to say to you. Actually, we're not here to talk to you. I came here tonight to have a chat with... Wait for it. Your daughter. Timing is everything. How did you...
Well, you're a resourceful one. A squeaky clean arcade industry titan can't let anyone know about his hooligan daughter, can he? No. So I've had to keep that under wraps. Good work sleuthing it out. But I can't say I'm impressed that you came here after you told me to f*** off.
I don't think I actually used that language, but... Well, I did kick them out of the arcade. That won't be a point in my favor right now.
You know, I tried to play nice with you. I tried to explain how it was nothing personal. The chaos we were causing for you. And you were super rude about it. Totally rude.
Excuse me? You know how much you sabotaged us. And you complained to me about being rude? You were pranking us, sabotaging us the whole time. You have no right to call anyone rude. And plus, I didn't actually choose the aggressive option. I chose the funny option, I think. I chose the funny option. It's not like I chose to wreck your arcade. I didn't have a choice, as you probably figured out. Honestly, I liked your arcade. It ruled. But I don't like a no-fun jerk. And you're absolutely a no-fun jerk. Absolutely, totally, completely no fun. I don't know, honey. That's not what the stats are saying. That's not what the numbers are saying, sweetheart. Try again. So, why exactly should I give a flying blank what you have to say? Precisely. I see your game, Mr. Angel. It's as obvious as the sad little strategic moves you've made so far to keep your arcades afloat. Sadly, nothing you say or do will save Funplex 2 Electric Boogaloo from my inevitable takeover. This is simply how the industry works. Now, Sue, it's time you finish what you started. Sue shifts her attention from her father back to me. It's hard to read what she's thinking, but I have to think of something to calm the tension. I step forward, my fists clenched ready, but before words escape me, someone is by my side. Honestly, Mr. Nami, we could stand around tossing insults back and forth all night, but that doesn't change one fact. We're not standing in the middle of Deco's palace. This is Sue's home, not yours. She's the one with the real power in this scenario. Oh snap, my boo, my boyfriend.
Seriously? If you think you could come here and convince my daughter to turn on me, you're sorely mistaken.
The only issue with Percy's argument is Dekonami technically is paying the bills for this space. So technically it's not really Sue's because Dekonami could just cut her off, but we're not gonna dwell on that.
Sue knows I'm the only thing standing between her and numerous jail sentences. My power, my money, my presence. She knows I'm the one she can rely on at all times. Without me, what is she? Just a simple thief with simple friends.
The ghost monsters exchange glances with each other, frowning and rolling their eyes, but they don't utter a word or move against Deco. They clearly want to pounce, but hold themselves back.
But I understand and support her. I appreciate her nefarious talents and nurture them. Oh, and I also put a roof over her head, feed her, and clothe her. I spare no expense.
Oh, I spare no expense for her basic needs.
In other words, she knows that I made her, and I can unmake her at a moment's notice. After all, Father knows best. Father knows all. And in the world of arcades, Dekonami knows and controls all. You can't stop that. You can't fight it. And you can't win.
Nice. Mark Mir. Mark Mears must be having a ball with this scene.
Sue, if you would kindly show our friend the exit, as forcefully as you like. Perhaps make a game of it. See if your buddies can wreck the other leg.
Oh my gosh. Wow, Deco. Twirl that mustache even further, why don't you? Seriously? Vindictive much? Do it. Ugh, fine. Inky Pinky, bounce them both. With a flick of the wrist, Sue gestures for her buddies to make us into street pizza. This is it. This is the moment. I need to say something that will convince Sue to do the impossible, to flip on her control freak father. And it has to be something absolutely true to my core, to who I become as a person. It's time for Archangel to pull out one more rabbit out of the hat. Let me look at the ones that I didn't have. That's your strategy, tosses out? Surely you can come up with something more clever than that. You call yourself a gamer? Prove it. This calls for one-on-one video game showdown. Come on, what's the fun in that? I came to battle and I challenge you to a pizza bagel eating contest. You're stronger than him, Sue. You don't need Deco. He needs you. And I can help you see that. This feels wrong, Sue. I'm not talking about kicking us out or kicking us around. I'm talking about you taking orders from him. Only I was a jerk to you. Okay, I was a jerk to you when I kicked you out. I'll own up to that. But clearly, no, don't apologize for that. You did what you were supposed to do as a respectable owner of a game. But anyway, in this situation, I guess you have to apologize for that, even though in principle you shouldn't have anything to apologize for. I'll own up to that. But clearly, you're a woman with power, who commands respect. I can see that now. What's someone like you doing playing lackey for someone like Deco Nami? Sue, through your recent interactions, I've come to know you and your heart. You love arcades, but you're working for someone who loathes them while doing his dirty laundry. If you'll hear me out, I know I can help you see that too. You're stronger than Deco. You don't need him. He needs you. But if you'd rather mash us into paste, well, I stand on one foot, arms wide, to make it a bit easier for her. Do as you wish. Are you quite done babbling yet? Get this over with, Sue. I'm done dealing with this fool. And yet, Sue's holding up a hand to stop the two goons. She was about to sick on us. What are you waiting for, young lady? I said to get rid of him. It's just babbling, right? So who cares? Specifically, why do you care, Dad? You afraid Hark will say something you don't want your dear daughter to hear?
I run the show.
Well, I want to hear
Not
this
you.
out. And if you don't want to hear it, nobody's keeping you here, old man. What? Shh, the adults are talking. Deco's visibly seething, but Sue's clearly taken the floor. Deco crosses his arms in defiance, but opts to let his daughter continue. Okay, Hark, okay. You've got a temporary reprieve from my boys making you into a Picasso. Maybe you're not quite the no-fun jerk I'd pegged you for. Say what you came to say. But if I'm not, like, super-duper incredibly totally swayed by your amazing charisma, you're out of the door. Or possibly the window. I've got super good charisma. This is my chance to convince Sue. I have to do this. And it's not just me. I have Percy beside me, lifting me up. I look over at my love, my heart, and I smile. Take it from this humble fellow. Hark has charisma to spare. I've come to know him and his heart. It beats true and pure. You may think me a sentimental old fool, love-struck and blind, but if you've any faith in human decency, believe me when I say Hark has your best intentions in mind. Huh, okay. You know, contrary to my status as a cyber outlaw, I'm not a bad person. I'd like to think people are basically cool, unless you push them.
Quite good.
Glad to hear it. Okay, let's hear it. I want nothing but the milk of human kindness spilling from your lips. And that was a really gross metaphor. Ugh. Deep breaths. Count to 10. Refocus myself. I slow my racing pulse, bringing this down to something more heartfelt, more personal. I have to connect with Sue. Empathize with her. This isn't just about being convincing. I need to befriend her and lay bare the emotional truths in her heart. I glance at Iris on my phone screen, who simply shrugs. We're entering far more subtle territory. I can't rely on her to tell me what responses may or may not work. It's time to be the best I can be, on my own. Nice. Appeal to her love of arcades. Flatter her ego. Invoke the power of friendship. Remind her she was almost killed for Deco. Invite her back to your arcade. Offer a place to stay if Deco kicks her out. Interesting. That's probably the thing that she's most worried about. Appeal to her love of arcades. Flatter her ego. You have 4 more attempts to sway Sue remaining. Flatter her ego. Invoke the power of friendship. Remind her that she was almost killed for Deco. Invite her back to your arcade. Offer a place to stay if Deco kicks her out. Sure. So, let me be clear about this. The reason you won't side with me over your father is you're worried he'll burn you, kick you out of his home, abandon you on the street? Let's put aside the question of whether holding such a threat over your head indicates a loving father or not. I mean, it doesn't, but if what you need is a place to stay to avoid being homeless, I'll offer my home. Wait, you're serious? Didn't you kick me to the curb when I was at your arcade? Circumstances change. Yeah, I don't know. She can stay with me. If it comes to that. Aw, Clyde! I ship those two. Clyde's a cutie pie! He looks like a sweet cutie boy. Clyde, seriously? I wouldn't want to put you out. My parents like you. I like you. And they'd understand your situation. Please don't feel like you have no options. You've got your friends. You've got me. Just think about it, okay? Please. I wouldn't actually drive her from my home.
You understand.
That was just a figure of speech. I'm saying that I am a provider. I'm the reason she's able to. Nah, I'm pretty sure you meant what you said. You've threatened me with all of the dire consequences of disobedience more times than I can count, and I'm getting sick of it. So, don't think you can hold that over my head any longer.
Think about it.
This would be a mistake, Sue. Think about more than what roof you happen to be sleeping under. I can protect you in ways you cannot provide for yourself. Beyond food and clothing and a place to stay. Legal protection, notably. I keep you off various raiders. I make sure my enemies weren't aware you exist. You're safe under my wing. Oh, definitely. But maybe I just don't care anymore. Maybe I'd rather flame out than put up with your stuff. Sounds like she's starting to see through his supposed generosity. Good. Invite her back to your arcade. A reminder she was almost killed for Deco. Invoke the power of friendship. Flatter ego. The only thing I'm worried about with reminder she was almost killed for Deco is that she'll remember that I didn't jump in front of the gun to save her. That's the only thing. Appeal to her love of arcades, flatter ego, invoke the power of friendship. Invite her back to our arcade. This should work because even though I did kick her out, I said circumstances changed and she really likes our arcade more than her dad's. She likes her arcade. But on the condition that they don't mess it up. Invite her back to your arcade. Hey Sue, you like Funplex 2 Electric Boogaloo, right? How about I lift the ban on you returning? Clearly you don't actually want to wreck my business. If you agree to stop pushing Deco's agenda by messing with Funplex 2 Electric Boogaloo, you can swing by anytime you like. I'll even comp you some tokens. Sound good? Absolutely! Except for, the small problem of the lovely chainsaw lying in wait to finish the job to put me in the dirt. Afraid that a couple bucks in tokens wouldn't go real far in paying for my funeral. I appreciate the offer and all, but honestly, if I wanted to come back, I'd come back band or not. There's bigger things at play than what I want, though. But she raised a hand shutting me down. Done talking about this, we're done. Honestly, I thought that'd work, but she shut me down so fast I doubt she'd want to push me any harder. How about invoke the power of friendship, flatter her ego, appeal to her love of arcades, remind her she was almost killed for Deco. I think there's a pretty simple indicator of how much Deco cares about you, Sue. He nearly got you killed. He didn't know that was lovely chainsaw territory when he asked us to go for Funplex 2 Electric Boogaloo. Did you tell him? Of course. And how did he react? He didn't care. Why should I? Some pathetic little gang of campfire scouts pretending to be a menace of society? They're nothing. I'd like to think my daughter and her friends are clever enough, strong enough to overcome such nonsense. Except they nearly killed her. That giggling gathering of girls proved a bit more dangerous than you thought they'd be, Deco. No doubt the shooter would have peed their panties in fear before getting the nerve to pull the trigger, if you hadn't startled her. Making some assumptions there, Deco. For all you know, they're stone cold to the core, and now you're pushing for her to go back into their turf? A hard lesson, but one she must learn. If Sue can't learn to rise to such mediocre challenges, she won't be ready to inherit my empire. She doesn't want your empire.
You understand.
Am I a harsh tutor? Perhaps. But I know Sue will be stronger for facing our fears, worthy of the challenges to come in running Deco's palace. Sue, do you want to own Deco's palace? Is that your future? This is what I overheard. And how do you feel about facing the lovely chainsaws again, Sue? What kind of father puts his daughter in harm's way for her own gain? Sue, do you want to own Deco's palace? Is that your future? Sue Nami, owner of Deco's palace. That feels weird when I say it. But let's hear her thoughts. Sue, do you want your father's empire? Well, he's mega rich, and I'd get all his power when he croaks. Yes, well, aside from all that, that's a lot of all that to brush aside, you know. I could do with a lot of the resources he's got. And you'd have to run a series of arcades that you actually hate, casinos with no love for the kind of games you've hoarded here. Well, okay, running the palace would suck. But I can always sell it for cash and buy myself an island. What? Or heck, I could crash and burn his entire empire, then start my own arcade on my own terms. There's just so much possibility if I grit my teeth and tolerate him until he inevitably drops dead of butt cancer or something. Yeah, sounds good. But I need to stick by this old bee if I'm gonna get his moolah. Sorry. Hey, maybe one day we could open an arcade together. Pretty sure that's the opposite of the effect I was looking for. You have one more attempt to... This is really frustrating. I don't think the power of friendship will work. I don't think so. Appeal to her love of arcades. Flatter her ego. I don't know, I feel like she'll see past it if I flatter her ego. I feel like... So my guess is flattering her ego would be like disrespectful and insulting. Because I'm just patronizing her. Appeal to her love of art. This is the last thing I've got. Appeal to her love of arcades. You love arcades. You got pixels in your heart, Sue. I mean, look at this place. It's amazing. You've built one heck of an arcade here. All so your friends have fun, place to relax and enjoy themselves. So not that great. A lot of games are busted. Seriously? You think you can appeal to her love of these pieces of garbage?
Such a
The only
shame.
reason she has any of
Such
these
a
games is because I
shame.
couldn't find space in a landfill for them. They're my cast-off. What's to love? Dad, they're not junk. When I was a kid, I used to love going to your arcades. Bring your daughter to work day was a treat. I got to have fun and enjoy all these great games. I felt special, like I was a special kid because my daddy ran an arcade. I felt good, like you were this amazing person I would look up to. But then you started throwing them out and replacing them with stuff, effing slot machines and mobile game ports. Sensing he's losing her, Deco switches tactics.
Am I not generous?
And I gave you the games you loved. They're all down there instead of throwing them out. I gave you a very generous gift as my beloved daughter. It's not going to be enough just to say she loves games. I have to take Deco down a peg. I'm curious. When did you stop looking up to him? You used to look up to him. When did that change, Sue? Was it just because he threw out games? Or was it something more? It's not like he was always a jerk. No, I take it back. He was always a jerk. I just couldn't see it because I was a tiny little girl mystified by her arcade-owning daddy. I don't think it was any one thing. I grew up. I grew up fast and hard. Started using my skills to get myself things he wouldn't get me. Waste of money, he said. And when he caught me with a stolen credit card, I was expecting a lecture. Punishment? A father trying to set his daughter on the right path? But he encouraged me. Said nobody in this world mattered, and if I could take something, I had a right to take it. To rely on myself. You know what, Dad? You're an a-hole. And you taught me to be just like you. That's what changed. I couldn't look up to him anymore. And I couldn't look up to myself either. That's not... 99.97%. Of course it's 99.97%. Of course it is. One heck of a breakthrough. It'll help me, true. But I'm glad she can see that for herself, too. Before I can get another word, Sue waves her hands, interrupting me. Okay. Enough. I'm sick of all this talking. It's time for action. It's time for decisions. You've made your case, Dad, and so have you, Hark. He wants to protect me and use me. It's patently obvious at this point, but maybe the cost of turning my back on him is too high. While Hark wants me to throw it all away, just because it's the right thing to do, as for me, what do I want? How do I want this to play out? This is it. The moment of truth.